This is VOA News, reporting by remote. I'm David Burr. Brazil has become only the second nation to have more than 600,000 deaths from COVID-19, according to figures released by the country's health ministry. Despite that figure, bars in Sao Paulo are full again for Friday happy hours, and lawmakers in the capital have nearly done away with video sessions via Zoom. Rio de Janeiro's beaches are packed, and calls for strict social distancing seem but a memory. Relief in both COVID-19 cases and deaths have been particularly welcome, given experts' warnings that the Delta variant would produce another wave of destruction in the country, with the second most victims. So far, that has not materialized. The United States has the most deaths from COVID-19, more than 712,000, according to Johns Hopkins University figures. An Islamic State suicide bomber struck at a mosque packed with Shiite Muslim worshippers in northern Afghanistan on Friday, killing at least 46 people and wounding dozens of others. In its claim of responsibility, the region's IS affiliate identified the bomber as a Uyghur Muslim, saying the attack targeted both Shiites and the Taliban for their purported willingness to expel Uyghurs to meet demands from China. Eyewitness Hussein Dad Rezai says he heard the explosion and ran to the mosque.
I was busy in construction work at home. As soon as the praying started, the explosion sound came. As I went to look for my relatives in the mosque, I saw it was full of everyone lying around. The number is not yet clear.
It was the latest in a series of IS bombings and shootings that have targeted Afghanistan's new Taliban rulers, as well as religious institutions and minority Shiites, since U.S. and NATO troops left in August. This is VOA News. Former President Donald Trump's company lost more than $70 million on his Washington, D.C. hotel during his 4 years in office, according to documents released Friday by a congressional committee investigating his business. The House Committee on Oversight and Reform says the losses came despite an estimated $3.7 million in revenue from foreign governments. Business that ethics experts say Trump should have refused because it posed conflicts of interest with his role as president. The Trump Organization said in a statement that the findings of the Democratic-led committee were misleading and false, calling the report nothing more than continued political harassment. A new poll shows Americans agree that misinformation is a problem. AP's Mike Hempen has more.
95% of Americans have identified misinformation as a problem when they're trying to access important information. A new poll from the Pearson Institute and the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research reveals about half blame the U.S. government, while 3/4 point to social media users and tech companies. 53% say they're not concerned that they have spread misinformation, but about 6 in 10 are at least somewhat concerned that their friends or family members have been part of the problem. Mike Hempen, Washington.
Media groups have welcomed the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize for 2 journalists who have battled to confront misinformation globally. AP's Charles de Ledesma reports.
Human rights activists and many others have enthusiastically welcomed the awarding of this year's prize to journalists Maria Ressa of the Philippines and Dmitry Muratov of Russia, at a time when media groups around the world face new pressures and crackdowns from the authorities. Another new threat is the rise of misinformation, even in established democracies. The Committee to Protect Journalists says Ressa and Muratov are under personal threat and continuously defy censorship and repression to report the news, leading the way for others to do the same. Charles de Ledesma, London.
U.S. employers added just 194,000 jobs in September, a second straight tepid gain and evidence that the pandemic still has a grip on the U.S. economy. Friday's report from the Labor Department also showed that the unemployment rate fell sharply to 4.8% from 5.2% in August. Last month's gains were the fewest since December, when employers actually cut jobs. Visit voanews.com for more. Reporting by remote, I'm David Burr.